Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have a video for you on the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. So let's jump right in. So to start, I have already cut down my cardstock, and my panel is going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller than my black mat, and my black mat is going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller than my A2 side card base. So I have here the Catherine Pooler Jolly Trees stamps, and I'm going to bring in the dies here in a little bit as well. And I'm just going to stamp them out using my Misti to create kind of my focal point for this card. Now, I did actually put them all on together, and then I'm going to kind of remove them, which was a little bit silly, but you're going to see me here. I don't know what I was thinking there, but this is kind of just what I thought I would do. So I'm going to use 5 Distress Oxide inks. I start with Hickory Smoke, and I'm going to stamp that down twice, and then I'm going to bring in my Fawn Shammy and just clean off my tree and then pull it off of the Misti and then move on to the next one. You could have just left it there and not done this. I guess I did this so that I wouldn't contaminate it with my next ink, which is Cracked Pistachio. And I'm going to stamp that one down twice as well. And then I'm going to do the same thing, clean it off and remove the stamp, and then move on to my next one. So after this one, I don't take any more of them off the door. I just left them there and just inked around it. But so I'm going to have, this is Picked Raspberry. And I'm going to also use Mermaid, Lagoon, and Wilted Violet. Now this is a very non-traditional Christmas card. I kind of like to do both, although I lean more towards non-traditional cards a little bit. I just love bright colors. So I have a tendency to make cards that are bright even though they're Christmas themed, but you could absolutely do this in like golds and blacks or red and green or any kind of color combo that you like. I really like bright colors, so that's kind of why I went with this combo. And then I'm also going to stamp down, I just have the little stem or trunk, sorry about my head there. I just have the little trunk, and I used Walnut Stain Distress Oxide for that one. And then I'm going to stick down the dies with a little bit of purple tape just to hold them in place while I run them through my die cut machine. Now this little tree here, it didn't have a die, so I just chose to fussy cut it out. I don't mind fussy cutting. I know some people really don't enjoy that, in which case you could have stuck with the other trees. I didn't mind, so I just fussy cut it out. And I'm going to use a sentiment. This is going to be my sentiment. It's from Fawn, and it is the Happy Holidays line border die. And here you can kind of see that I've laid out what I want to do, but the background felt a little bit plain. So I brought in a stencil by Hotlz. This is the bubble layering stencil, and everything that I've used in this video will be linked and listed down below in the description if you want to take a look. And I brought in a little bit of Tumbled glass Distress Oxide just to add a little bit of something to the background, and you can see that I've kind of tapped my brush off a little bit to have it be fairly light. I do want it to be fairly subtle. I'm not really looking for a strong background, just something to add a little bit more texture to my panel, as I felt that the pure white just seemed a little bit too subtle for me. I didn't like how it looked, so I wanted a little bit more texture. And now you can see here that I'm trying to kind of align where I want my Happy Holidays, and I opt to run it through my Xyron sticker maker. Now this is going to cause me some issues in a little bit, and I'll show you what I did to fix it, but that is what I decided to stick it down. Now I kind of wish I had just used my liquid glue, but I didn't, so when we come to that part, excuse me, I'll show you the mistake that I made, and then I'll show you how I fixed it. So you're going to see here, I'm going to play with the layout a little bit, and I kind of go back and forth a few times on how I want the trees laid out. I know that I want some in front and some behind, and I don't want any of the tops of the trees to be at the same height, because I really want it to add some dimension and have the different layers going on. So I kind of play around a little bit with the layout, and then I'm going to lay some down flat with my Nuvo Deluxe glue, and some I'm going to pop up. Actually only one. I only pop up the gray tree up. Otherwise every other one of the trees is actually laid down flat. So I did opt to bring in my ruler, just so I could kind of get my trees straighter, although in the end I'm not sure how much that actually helped me. My trees are straight, luckily, and I mean this is such a simple and clean card that I think that had they not been straight, you would have noticed. So I really wanted them to be straight, so I kind of just brought the ruler in to make sure that my tree trunk was straight on the bottom so that I didn't have to kind of worry about it being like higher or lower or kind of crooked, because a tree that's crooked, unless you meant for it to be, would look a bit odd. So I opted to lay down the blue one and the pink one first because they are going to be in the back, and then I'm going to lay down the front layer. So for my gray tree, I did opt to bring in some foam squares. These are super thin, and I recently got these from ScrapbookPal, and I'm in love. These foam squares are amazing. They are so thin and so easy to remove the backing sheet from that they're just so perfect for this project. Because I didn't want a lot of dimension. I don't want the front tree to stand out really far from the others, but I do want some dimension so that it's not a really flat looking card, right? And if I have, like you see there, I put it down in the wrong spot, I was easily able to lift it up because I hadn't pushed it down yet. And now I did also opt for the trunk to be stuck down flat. Because my sentiment is going to go over top of the trunk, I didn't want it to sit up higher because my sentiment is going to be stuck on flat. So I did kind of have to play with that a little bit, but it worked out in the end. And then I am going to tuck, see originally I thought that I would stick these two in the front of the gray tree, which is silly because I popped the gray tree up. So in the end I opted to just kind of nestle them in around one of the 3D foam squares, and then just kind of tucked it in and glued it down flat. And I did that for both. And they're like a small amount behind that gray tree. Like they're pretty much in the front, really, but that just kind of makes the gray tree the front and center of this card, which I thought looked really neat because it's gray and then it has all this color kind of around it, which I thought was kind of neat. So here you can see I've stuck this down. I'm sorry, I took the footage out because my head got in the way so many times you guys couldn't really see me doing it, but all I did was remove it from the backing sheet and then laid it down. Now, I did not push hard enough to get all of the stickiness from the sticker maker to stay only on the sentiment. So there is glue or like stickiness all over the sentiment, and you'll see it more when I hold it up for you here in the end. But I just opted to bring in my Xyron adhesive remover and just rubbed it along where I'd made the mistake and there was glue. There's still a little bit, but it's not too bad. So it was a mistake on my part. I do kind of wish I had just used my liquid glue and stuck it down, but I didn't. So, and in the end, I think it looks okay. So then here I'm just going to glue down my panel down to my black mat, and I have a tendency to black mat everything. I love how it looks. So that's just kind of the direction I end up going. And you can see there that I just have that 1/8 of an inch border that kind of just adds a little bit of black to make the colors pop even more on that white piece of cardstock. And then I am going to glue that down with the same Nuvo Deluxe glue down to my side fold A2 base. And by far my favorite glue is the Deluxe glue, just because it gives you a little bit of time to kind of rearrange what you wanted to do. So if it's not perfect the first time, you have a few seconds to kind of wiggle it around. As you can see here, I'm kind of shimmying around my cardstock to make sure that it's centered. And because I can never stop there, I had to add a little bit of bling. So I brought in some Nuvo crystal gems, and I just used a jewel picker to stick those down with my same Nuvo Deluxe glue. And I kind of play with my layout. I always use uneven numbers. So you can see here I have 5 trees, I have 5 gems. I just find it's more appealing to the eye. So that's the direction I tend to go with that. But by all means, do what looks good for you. I mean, there's no wrong way to make a card. They're stunning. So I have no concern there. So I'm going to hold this up, and you guys are going to be able to see here that there is a little bit of glue. You can kind of see it stuck there. Not a big deal. It still turned out stunning. So that is the card I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you'll leave a comment, leave a like, and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.